will that be their undoing? Will itemization be too easy to acquire? Or will it be their downfall? Let's load into the Rift then for our very first game here for day 3 of our initial Super Week for the split. And get to see what these two teams have in store for us as the race to playoffs well and truly roars on.
Yeah, and as you mentioned it, Skimmy, the double AP threat out of ION, both these champions do not want to build Void Staff early. You know, they always want to get those big, large rod items. You want to be getting as much AP as possible. So it's if, you know, either of these members fall behind, or we see the Renekton or the Poppy get ahead where they can build so much magic resist, and Styx, you know, just can't output that physical damage that he needs to because he just doesn't have the items yet. These team fights could look very hard for them.
It certainly could. Could be some pretty insane team fighting. Either way, though, obviously we talk about the CC lockdown at the bot lane of ION will have. Certainly could be said the same then for Mammoth, right? The Chain of Corruption's laid out with the depth charge, and suddenly you're also locked in place for far too long. I think the big one, though, is going to be the ability to utilize macro quite well. Obviously, Taliyah, fantastic, especially once level 6 is around the corner. Just a dash between lanes to help out, but I think they're going to have to really be on point with that, right? Because this Jarvan and LeBlanc are going to want to be hyperactive on the map as well.
Oh, we're going to see a little chicken flip in the early game. Usually this is what Poppy does. You know, you play for that lane invade while Jarvan solos away the buff because he doesn't want to start the camp. But who will get the smite?
Comes the gamble, and in the end, looks like Goodo's claimed it all for himself. So very happy Poppy is here at the start of this one. Nobody going to peel away from the lanes just yet, and it would make sense that they wouldn't. Because we're so early on to this one, they say you can just simply fight it out and see who comes ahead. Goodo's still going to stay around in the area. The flag is going to reveal. And the spamming of the emotes continues as Goodo says, okay, I'll give you enough.
Yeah, the one thing, the one advantage with Collie, even though he did lose his initial camp, he does have the smite advantage, which means that if they do fight over another camp, he will always win that. So Goodo recognizes that and he's going to go back to his own jungle. This won't really affect the early game too much. It just means Collie has been spotted and he's, you know, his early game pressure's down a bit, but he's still going to be able to clear up. Doesn't get level 4 in the first clear, unfortunately, unless he does decide to invade and take away one of Goodo's camps.
But let's check in with top lane as well. Also worth mentioning, the case is that where you do lock in the rumble, you will go for that ignite as opposed for the teleport. You are playing for some aggression pre-level 6 and at least, you know, 10 minutes into the game, right, once that teleport does actually find a little bit, you know, extra impact. So we had to see how Doraemon looks to weave this one out. There is Coley now with level 2, and he says, you know what, I feel strong enough to actually do a bit of invading myself. You've done it to me. How about I pay you back that favor? Going to rock up a little bit too late, though, to try and contest this Gromp. Lose vision for a second. The flag and drag goes absolutely nowhere, and I think he's just simply dead. Across the wall he goes with the flash. They'll flash to match, and they'll simply take him down for first blood. Hex Flash, though, wastes no time in retaliation. Across the wall he goes. Styx finds one, hunting a second, and he's weaving in to get that double kill. Now they need to afford him a little bit of space. Peel to make sure that Voice doesn't get it, and now that's an Ashe with double buff.
Yeah, that's the power of this Ashley on an early game. There's so much damage. Gunkrab just missteps a little bit and loses his entire health bar. You know, unfortunate the Voice goes to flash to kill Coley, completely misses his combo, so we just don't find it. As you'll see in the replay, how Gunkrab was, you know, just deleted off the game because this looks so good for Mammoth. Coley completely messes up this invade, misses his combo, but Gunkrab just out of position here, lets the PTA stack up on him and just gets one shot, taking out the game completely. And I think from this point, they have no threat on the Styx. He just completely takes over these early skirmishes.
Yeah, very awkward, isn't it, the positioning there, but then the ability to utilize that flash to cover ground, and especially here from Hex Flash to finally hit the Zenith Blade once it came off cooldown just to peel and protect, and the best possible start, and completely undermines the point about us having a stable bot lane early game because 4 minutes in, double buff, 2 kills. But the only difference would be that Gunkrab still has his flash up and available.
Yeah, so Coley can't EQ out in the 1v1, but Praetor is unable to rotate to really collapse him because Joby's always going to win that 1v1. If he does land the chain and the distortion, the damage, it's very hard for Taliyah to land her combo onto LeBlanc. It's just very easy as a mobile champion to dodge a lot of the predictable damage that comes out of Taliyah. So, you know, really nice by Coley that he does, you know, find a camp to steal away and get back into the early game.
Good though, right on a repeat, saying your chicken should be back up. I've timed it. I'm here to pick them up, and there's not a person in the world here to really stop him. Nobody from the side of ION is interested at this stage, so much so that Voice and Gunkrab are actually able to leave their lane, rotate up, see what they can find in the mid lane, and they'll find a little bit of chip damage on towards Jovi, but certainly not enough to force him to burn a flash.
Does have the Hex Flash. He's looking for the gank on mid.
Still hunting for a little bit of extra action, though. They've already popped the clone of that LeBlanc. It's Gudo stuck around for a little bit longer than we would have probably imagined, as Coley debating whether or not I should go for the flag and drag, but there's the minefield, and that certainly does mean that if you do go across that, bit of a death wish.
And honestly, Skimmy, we don't really get to see it, but I think the big winner of this early game is Doraemon. Like, he's left into his isolated 1v1, which means he's going to keep accruing this like lead he can grow out in the 1v1. Having the Ignite means that he has so much combat threat, which Reneko just can't trade aggressively. He really needs to be able to find a gank from Gudo that can snowball him to, get to his first item where he can really start fighting with the Dominus.
Yeah, you'd imagine that Doraemon was looking for the all-in there, getting that Rage Bar stacked up, or the Heat Bar rather, as topped up and ready to go as it could be. Dropped the full combo. In the end, it wasn't enough to get kill pressure. Clears out the wave, but still holds it in the middle, as he will deny the fruit, ping the grubs, and really call the attention of the rest of his team to secure that one for them.
Yeah, we already see Hex Flash moving up to the grubs, so this will definitely go over to the Ion side. We see all of the Mammoth members leaning towards bot side right now. If this is going to be a dragon, are they going to try stack a wave and dive on sticks? We already see Hex Flash, I don't need to be able to grubs anymore because we've recognized no one's here, so he's returning straight back to bot to make sure his AD carry is protected on the stacked wave.
Gudo, though, being hyperactive as a living ward, always in the enemy jungle, utilizing that Hex Flash to jump into Hex Flash, funnily enough. Locks him up against the wall, Styx rotates across and says, well, that can't go unchecked. The Ignite is burnt as Hex Flash thought they had kill pressure. Hawkeye Vision there to grant the ability for the volley to connect, but it does get soaked up by Voice, and Voice might just get slowed down infinitely, if not for the fact that they do have the numbers advantage, and they will have to peel away. Yeah,
Gunkrab is doing a pretty good job in the CS department, so I assume that the wave state from that earlier skirmish in the jungle was very favorable for them. We see the flash forward from Chovy. Fortunately, wasn't able to find it, but have to see if they want to commit anyway.
They certainly will. They've found... Oh, so close for a second there, feeling like they may not have found it. He guaranteed that that chain was going to land, and really served it to Coley on a silver platter.
Yeah, so we go back into the replay, and they both... Reneko decided to stick around, wasn't able to collapse his wave in time for the harass. And it's just, this is what happens. We both don't have ults. We get to see the Ignite pressure coming out of Doraemon, and he finds an easy solo kill for himself.
And a clutch shield at the tail end of that one to run away from that turret that was ready to take him down in a trade, but it's not to be found, so no summoners now exist in this top lane. You mentioned it already, you'd like to see a little bit of help afforded to the Renekton to allow them to actually be a fighting force to remain relevant once this mid to late comes around. But Gudo certainly has his work cut out for him on the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, level 6 already on Coley, so he is ready to fight. I don't know if Mammoth one takes one, but Coley cannot get out.
He can't, he's completely stun locked. So much CC between that core 3 squad, and yeah, doesn't matter if you got the level 6 advantage, you're unable to utilize it.
I think that just could have been a communication problem there, Skimmy, because we see him going through the invade while no one on his team is on the map or has any control of their lanes. Joby's still coming off the reset from that earlier gank, so pretty easy kill for them to pick up, but Doraemon does have the ult, and I'm not sure if Reneko wins this.
Doraemon pops it, but it's popped it fairly defensively, so he has to actually run away, and Reneko maybe waiting for that slice and dice. Is it up and available? I don't think it was, but that's a big win for him to come out on that occasion. The dragon down to 500 HP, secured there by Gudo. Gudo is going to fall as a result of this one. Picked up nicely there by Coley on his return to Grace. Jumps in with a one-man cataclysm, locks and plays Voice. He hits the depth charge, but only ends up giving away a double himself.
Yeah, and we just see Mammoth just communicating, just completely abandoned him, get out of there as fast as possible. Even though that looks favorable for Mammoth, we see so many members from Ion flashing forward onto Gudo, blows him up before he can do anything. Still level 5. I think that if Gudo did have access to the ult there could have been different fights, and it's just these little experience advantages that are making the difference in these skirmishes.
They certainly are. Not much between the farm of the two junglers, but that little difference certainly was a major factor. The keeper's verdict certainly could have been the difference on that occasion. Joby being a real menace here, even so much to dive behind the tower to cancel that recall and really make sure that this wave state is favorable because it's pushing towards him.
Yeah, and you take stock of the game, it's definitely Ion favored right now. They have control of pretty much all the lanes, but we'll get back to that after we review the replay. I think it's really nice to note how Hex Flash just recognizes Gudo is out of position in the pit here and just executes him straight away with, the burst from Leona Ashe. Really nice shove coming out of Predator, which means that they get to take down Joby, and Coley has to commit his flash because, flags drags over the wall, but gets hit by the pebbles, which means he is stunned, so he has to commit his ult and flash to find any follow-up there. So this might mean, going forward, because there are summoners down on the Ion side, Mammoth might feel a bit more confident to take some skirmishes.
I'm curious, though, whether or not they will decide to do that, because Gunkrab did have to burn that flash to dodge out in the Cataclysm, otherwise it would have been a triple kill, most likely there, as we are now hunting a potential another fight.
Flash.
It does have cleanse. Decided just to simply sidestep it. The stun comes out. There is the cleanse in the very end. Winds up one of those empowered piercing arrows, but it's certainly not enough at this stage to lock down this Ashe. He is a Gatling gun, sitting at 3-0-4 with the assistance of their jungler again. This bot lane is heavily Ion favored now.
You only have one cleanse, Kimmy, but there is more than one ability to cleanse there. We see, Hexflash throws the Solar Flare down, and then Six waits. He waits and waits, and then he finally throws out the, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, lands the stun. Even though there is the tenacity coming out of the cleanse, there's still enough CC for him to follow up and get all the damage he needs to get the easy kill.
See then what it means for Mammoth as to how they want to try and answer back into this one, because it's only 11 minutes into the game. They're already behind 3,000 gold. Kraken Slayer now picked up as Styx works his way towards that next level of power, and the rest of Ion going to entertain the idea of saying, well, we can't just make this a simple 3-for-3 trade. The heroic charge is fantastic. The flag and drag is interrupted, and simply again, Coley is a sitting duck. He had the Cataclysm, but the CC is unbearable, and he's unable to move.
Yeah, this is the strength of the Norless Poppy. Get onto someone, and if they have a dash as their only escape, you are not getting out of there. There's just so much CC from both members. Voice doesn't even commit the depth charge onto him, so they still has that in his back pocket if they want to link up and try and find some more kills on the map.
So 3-for-3 in the grubs in the end, as the very first dragon did go the way of Mammoth. So objective control certainly showing the spoils as we wonder where Ion will look to play next. Styx has everything up and available, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just tell Coley, clear your top side, gank again. Let's really push ahead. But in that same vein, where does Gudo want to look now? He does have the ultimate, level 7 online, has the Hex Slash up and available, but continues to protect this part of the map.
I think it's very important for Gudo to be reactive right now in this game state. He can't really be the aggressor because there's just not much priority on the map. He needs to be counter-ganking and making sure that he's protecting on these dives. I think if he does, try to be proactive, we're going to see Joby rotate first from mid, or if he does, attack mid lane, we're going to see Hex Slash and Styx being the first to rotate from bot. So he's trying on bot, Skibby, but I think he's dead.
Yeah, he tried to be clever, a little bit cheeky across that wall. The Hex Slash potentially dodging out on that vision line. Unfortunately for him, he's Hex Slash straight into that of the man himself. The CC between the Leona and the Ashe, as you saw evidence there, far too much without any tenacity. Just a sitting duck in the end.
Yeah, and I think we keep seeing this from Mammoth. We saw Gunkrab earlier a bit, disconnected from voice, which means a gap in vision. He falls over. We see Gudo a bit far ahead of his team, and now we see Praetor getting dove in mid. Does he find the flick? He does.
He does find the flick. Is it enough damage? What's enough to warrant the flash from Coley? Because that turret was starting to ramp up with the amount of CC he was under. And Praetor's doing a good enough job. I mean, he really has been the recipient of multiple ganks, and hence why you can understand that Joby is ahead in the CS. But to hold his own, he's still going to be a massive force, given that he is the sole AP.
Yeah, he has a lot ahead of him, but he's got through the hardest part of the lane pretty much. He has the Merc treads. He's able to sit back and just farm. Very good buy by him, honestly, and it saved his life there. The chain didn't last as long as it needed to, so Coley couldn't find the follow-up CC they needed to. But to my earlier point, Skimmy, we keep seeing Mammoth just being a bit disjointed by a couple seconds, and Ion is doing a really good job at punishing this. They see these little gaps in visual, this lapse in, the team continuity, and they just keep attacking, and they're finding these really easy kills.
They certainly are. So much so it's actually forced Mammoth to make a lane flip occur just based on how far behind Gunkrab and Voice have been. So they play towards topside. They want to make sure that Doraemon's power spike doesn't come any quicker than it already has on this occasion. So completely zoned away. Multiple members in the area to deny it. And the first turret actually going to be found with only one plate now remaining in bot. Yeah,
this is a very nice swap from Mammoth. They're getting a lot out of this. When you thought they were in a very dire position, they get first turret, they're going to pick up the second grubs is not Rift Herald. I think this might be Rift Herald. But perhaps see if Necker is able to survive here without his flash.
Unfortunately for him, he's flashed in a straight line, so the Ashe arrow was always going to connect, and they just basically dropped 3 ultimates on his head and says, no, this Renekton is going to die. And yep, the lane flip tax. Good for a second, bad thereafter.
Yeah, and we see Mammoth picking up the Rift Herald, but this objective is very hard to use when you have no control of the map, because you need to group up and charge it into a tower, and when the enemy team responds in tandem, it's so hard to deal with the 5v5, because right now there is so much gold on the Ion side, and if they want to match and take these fights against Mammoth when they want to group up and attack, I think we're going to see a very, very scary turnout for Mammoth.
I certainly agree with, as we can see from our lovely observers. They're going to toggle to show that close to 7,000 gold is where Styx is at right now, sitting on a phage as well as the Sheen. So really well on time to make sure that Trinity Force comes before this next objective fight. Gunkrab's got to be careful though. He does just pick up the Edge of Night. A little bit more defensive on this occasion to dodge out all this CC, because there has been an abundance of it. And the ability to hold your own in mid lane certainly becomes the new main focus.
Yeah, and Gunkrab has a lot of items for how his game has been going. He is definitely not weak. He is, I would say in line with Styx in terms of damage, but he just doesn't have the same output because of how his champion works. It's all about, those chains of corruption into the post, playing from long range, whereas, Styx is going to be in your face with just a flurry of auto attacks into the back of the Mammoth members.
Yeah, certainly will do. You need to really make sure those blight stacks are as topped up as much as they can be for that insane amount of bursts, but certainly easier said than done when you are on the back foot. Still, it is that 3k lead there to favour the side of ION, and with nothing to play for at least the next 3 minutes, side laning and at least the ability to hold down mid becomes the biggest focus of them all. Double Sundered Sky from the junglers, a little bit of extra dueling power for them. Does bring into question though, where does Gudo want to drop the Heralds?
Yeah, and this is also one of the strengths of Rumble, Skimmy. When we are in lane states like this, Mammoth can not really find a way to attack the map because they can't really match the Talia LeBlanc on the side because of how hard LeBlanc's going to win that, but they can't trade onto the other side of the map against the Rumble, but we see lots of ults being thrown out mid.
Double ults from the Eddie carries to try and get the fight started in the end. Nice little steadfast presence to interrupt the flag and draft from Cole Lee. So as a result, it's actually Gudo that picks up the kill and gets that all-important shutdown onto Styx. No summoners, no chance to survive. Doraemon from the base rocks up with Leandries and is spitting hot fire on the entire team, but it doesn't matter. Simply with a gold lead, they lose. And Mammoth reigns supreme.
And so I was talking about, Skimmy. Mammoth definitely has the prowess to, play well as a team. They just need to get through the laning phase and not be far down too much gold. And we get to see what happens when they group up. They finally weren't disconnected. They were first to the fight. And look what happens. They found the kill instantly onto Styx. And from that point, their main, DPS is down. And we see this Hex Drinker Renekton absorbing so much of this AP damage coming from the soil laners out of ION.
And they certainly did, soaked up the world and more, and now back to split pushing duties. But it all just starts with a double ultimate and then a case of double cleansing to see, okay, who can pounce on me thereafter?
Yeah, and really, really nice CC combo into a TP from Predator, which means their main member goes down. Unfortunately, the shutdown has gone to the correct person, but we get to see all this damage coming on the Iron side, but it's not sticking, The front line from Mammoth is so strong and will only continue to get stronger, especially if Styx is the first to die in these team fights.
Yeah, that Iron frontline died so quickly, so no matter how strong Doraemon was, he just didn't have the space afforded to him to cycle through those abilities and really continue to be that lane bully. That certainly has even up the scoreboard here, so much so now that entire 3k lead that Iron have possessed for the first 18, it's no longer there, it's gone.
Yeah, and this is not down to a champion edge anymore, Skimmy. This is going to come down to gameplay, and I think that is when we get to see, I would say ION will be more comfortable, continuing to play the game from an even state just because they're just a lot more familiar with the position, but we're not counting Mammoth out at all. I think their comp is very, very good at dealing with misplays from ION. If we see Coley out of position, he will die regardless of what he has up. If we see, these immobile champs left to Ashe, like the Rumble caught out of position, they will die, and I want to see how Predator wants to use this Weaver's Wall going forward.
That's a good point. You saw just how much frustration it's been for Coley, especially when the likes of Poppy and Nautilus are in the area, and certainly on that last occasion, it wasn't even about stunning you up against the wall with a heroic charge. It simply was, you can't flag and drag because the steadfast presence says no, and our 5th pick on the red side is proving to be a bit of a factor. 2 towers falling in quick succession for either side as the map becomes that much more open.
On that all-in we saw earlier to, force Doraemon to base, and as we see, based on these deploys, Renekton is the one getting all this gold, whereas Doraemon, who does not have access to the TP, is forced to group up and make sure that he is with his team in case a team fight does break out. But we get to see Renekton in the side lane getting alone time with this inner tower. Thanks to the grubs, he's going to be able to push this down by himself, get the dragon as well for Mammoth side, and I think that this is going to be a very good game state for Mammoth going forward.
Yeah, you can see both teams very stubbornly pushing those lanes. So 1 turret in the bot lane certainly becomes 2 for both sides. There comes the Ashe ult into the solar flare. Trinity forced there for Styx as well. So now he does insane amounts of DPS if he didn't do so already. And would you believe it actually, Hex Flash having more kills than the AD carry It's like we're watching Aladoric.
Very, very greedy melee supports. You know, it's not a bad thing though, Skimmy. When your frontline gets fed, it means you can do more damage because they live longer. So it's a win-win overall. Shouldn't be too disappointed about it. But Reneko picks up the tower, does his job, and Ion they keep sending all their members to the same parts of the map. And I think that sharing so much experience in gold could be the downfall of them. But we see that Baron being pulled. Well, they don't have the Equalizer or the Ash Arrow or the Leona ult, Skimmy. I'm not sure how this one's going to turn out.
Yeah, this is really a dance with the devil. Very, very risky. They're certainly inviting Mammoth to once again turn the tides of that gold difference. They look onto one key target. The Keeper's Verdict goes out, knocking in place Joby. He double distorts away to safety, but will he find any safety? Because there is no tower in the mid lane. He runs behind that fragile tier 2. And just how annoying is LeBlanc to chase from the bush all the way back to the safety of the base. The LeBlanc bait is complete. Ion switch off the Baron, come to his aid, and turn it around to find 2. Yeah,
Ion decides not to chase there and kill Prey that they feel is a bit too risky, ignoring Gunkrab's damage right now. But they have the TP come out of Joby. Really nice for him to live that long. I think it's just it's very hard to chase LeBlanc, Skimmy. You gotta respect the fact that she's already low, she's out of the fight, she can't impact it anymore. Let's focus on the rest of the team fight. I do want to see if Ion want to start this objective up again. We do have the Solar Flare for Hex Flash ready if they want to turn, and there is no vision for the Mammoth side right now.
Let's see if Mammoth are able to ascertain any kind of control of this one. Very simple for them to group up the spawn. As we can see, Iron are going for the full reset out of mine, so still a bit of respect has to be shown by the Mammoth squad. But they're going to be happy that the Baron has been stopped. They're slowly working their way towards that soul point. Won't be able to get a very quick one given the fact that Iron did deny, but it will be another Cloud Soul to play for. And I think another game in which a lot of these champions are going to be very happy to utilize that. All that uptime, you talk about the double supports with the Warmogs, not to mention that Force of Nature, extra movement speed on top of that already. I think Lockdown really is going to be the name of the game.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when we look at this game state right now, Skimmy, this is what Mammoth want. They want Reneko to be in the side lane. He has the TP. Doraemon, once again, with the Ignite, has to group up. So he's going to be able to keep, building that CS lead, build that experience lead. And I don't really think Ion has the right engage tools right now, especially if these Ash Arrows don't connect onto the right members.
Yeah, very away is good. So that Ash ult really never that much of a threat. Quite nice, though, to see that Mammoth are continuing to fight on back into this one, despite how poorly the initial few moments went against them. They've identified that their comp must still do a lot of work. And they are able to now actually finally regain control of that mid lane. And I think maybe a part of this is, as you mentioned already, right, the ability to have the double summoners, or double TP rather, is making it a little bit difficult for Doraemon to continue to be so strong.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Mammoth are going to play really aggressive right now. They see Doraemon answering the bot wave, so if they engage on mid or Ion disrespect, there won't be any response coming out of him. But, see, when we look at the other side of the map, in the top lane, the same thing is happening to Predator. He cannot match LeBlanc in the 1v1. He feels a bit too under pressure, especially with no flash. Bit susceptible to falling over, especially if Coley does hover up there. So he's always answering the waves only when it's as safe as possible. He really needs his team to, walk off mid-wave, lean to him, and make sure that if Joby is going forward, he will fall down.
Double Warmogs then, picked up by Goodo, so you're going to be incredibly happy seeing 3 in the game. We just need Coley now to pick up 1, and we've completed Exodia, where they can just AFK at this Baron all day long, saying, look, we can take these trades. I'll simply regen it all up in 10 seconds later. Back to the mid lane we go again then, as teams really are just AFK in the front of Whelp. Drag it up in a minute. Baron is always there on the doorstep. And we're just really waiting for those major CC cooldowns to showcase, okay, who decides to step up to regain control after going back to base to get all those wall charges again and fight for literally every square inch of the rift.
Yeah, this is very nice by Ion. All these comps, Skimmy, are about who walks into who, especially using that Fogger wall, because there's so many angles. We can see the Jarvan engage from a Fogger wall. We see LeBlanc come over the wall. We get to see the Ash Arrow from a blind spot. That's when we get to see a lot of damage come down. But same for Mammoth. If Ion walks into them or engages without finding the right members, it's going to be very hard.
Very difficult. Voice flashing away, not really wanting to entertain any more damage from that LeBlanc back-to-back, though. Those Ash Arrows have gotten to Goodo, so soaked up by the right person. Understandably then, there's no need to burn that Cataclysm, but they are on the Baron. The vision has been denied. Mammoth will have to face check, and what is the turning potential? Because there is no equalizer, and that would be the big one in a choke spot like this. The Baron down to 50%, they will peel away. They're going to utilize those Warmogs now, but the Keeper's Verdict being looked at. The Weaver's Wolves there too. 2 members locked away. No. The Solar Flare completely wished there as a slow. Not that as a stun. It was Styx dropping low. Oh, with only a Doran's Blade to his name. I think he's just gone. That is what's happened to Jovi. Stepped up aggressively for just a second. And Mammoth wasted no time to pressure him back. In they go, though. Collie says, we can fight this in a 4v5. Two-man Cataclysm. Can they find the kill? They simply can't. They'll get one onto Praetor, but that's about it. Mammoth just too strong when they're grouped up as 5.
Yeah, we're going to see if Gudo can be the miracle Baron Stealer here. I think it's pretty easy for the members of Mammoth to keep him out of the pit, but they're going to feel pressure to do this because this is their one window to attack the game. We see very important to pay attention to Jovi's death timer. He does have access to the TP, and when he comes here, he'll be very easy for him to clean up these kills. So Renekton is peeling up the Baron. They're losing a lot of damage. Congrats left in the pit.
They certainly are. They're all looking towards Coley. Tries to go for the flag and drag, disengage away, but I think he'll be happy in the fault that, well, my death's not been in vain. They have at least stopped the Baron.
Yeah, really nice ult from Gudo initially, which means that he doesn't die even though he's CC'd here. Jovi, very aggressive of using Fog of War here, tries to find the kill, but it's just really nice reactions from Gudo and Predator especially, you know, gets the CC out before it matters. Voice zoning out the main members, and we see Styx forced to flash. You know, they want to keep fighting, they want to keep extending this as much as possible, but he's forced to flash straight away. Predator with another really nice shove. And I think from this point, it's so hard for the members to fight when you're just losing so much health to all this AoE that's happening right now.
You certainly are unable to find access to the key targets they're after, and unable to try and be as annoying as they really want to be, right? You poke your head out for 1 second, and like a sniper squad, Mammoth just pounce upon you, lock you up against that terrain, and you're unable to utilize all those fancy feet, dashes and flashes to, you know, lurk away back into the shadows once more. Jovi, though, has just hit a massive power spike with that pickup of the Rabadons, and as you can see there, there's the most gold in the game. Really is a fighting force, but it has been Gunkrad that's been quietly achieving, to be honest, all game, as you mentioned very early on to this one, with the second most in the game for his team. Yeah,
Gunkrab is definitely quietly achieving, but we see a lot of ults going on to Voice right now. If he falls down, we might see the Baron being pulled again, Skimmy.
Yeah, Keeper's Verdict, too little too late, is unfortunately unable to hit anything on this occasion as well, so they've lost one of their major engaged sources. And having just pushed out the mid-wave, they will turn their attention straight back towards the Baron and say, come on, Mammoth, fight us one more time.
I think this might be a mistake pulling the Baron, Skimmy. They are down way too many ultis right now, and they just don't have the damage, especially like LeBlanc doesn't want to be hitting the Baron. She wants to be playing these flanks, and there's just no threat onto Gunkrab or Praetor right now without these main engaged tools.
Well, they're looking at Renekton. The Hex Drinker shield has already been popped. Doraemon getting peppered by Pebbles from afar. The flash out of the Cataclysm. Only Gunkrab remains in that once instantly Hex Flash jumps in. The Cleanser's burn. He still has not anything left in the tank. No flash, no disengage ability. And it will be another 2 in the end. It's 3 overall, and not a single member of Ion drops.
Yeah, and that's the split up of the team fights. We see Predator's forced onto the top side of the fight, so he's unable to clean up onto the engage from Gunkrab, and unfortunately, we see that, you know, back-to-back engages happening where they engage first, blow the steadfast presence from Gudo, wait it out, engage again, they don't have to disengage anymore. All of a sudden, we're into a Baron flip right now, and can Gudo get this one?
Ash Arrow straight off called and there to actually guarantee it. You can see how close that was. It was not even a smite to guarantee. It was actually picked up by Styx of all people. Jovi has just hit level 16, dashes one way, the other team members go the other, and really rely upon the ability to use that empowered Baron recall to get back to base and run.
Yeah, this is really nice by Ion. They were on the map first, being very aggressive, but we have to go back in this replay, and I'll show you what I mean, Timmy. You know, they engage initially, and Gudo uses his tools to disengage, which is Collie is just sitting in the fog, waiting, and then because Gudo doesn't have his steadfast presence to deny engage, Gunkrab's caught out of position, and Predator just can't trade. He can't do the damage he needs to right now because he's just on the wrong position in this team fight.
Yeah, getting hunted down there by Doraemon, really making sure that you're unable to sit across the wall very safely. Hitting him with skill shots from afar, unable to operate in the same way that the marksman style of Avaris would want to. If they get in your face, it is very difficult to escape, especially with that flash summoner being down, but should be up and available for this next fight, which will be the potential Cloud Soul point here for Mammoth. 2 minutes though for them to endure that of an Ion Baron push, and I'm curious to see where they want to go. They did all that great work towards top lane earlier to get 2 turrets in quick succession, but they've still got to take down mid-tier 1.
Yeah, but we get to see the strength of the LeBlanc on the silent. If that chain landed scheme, I think that might have been lights out for Predator. That was so close. We always talk about how strong LeBlanc is right now, but in the 5v5, it is quite hard to do damage. You know, you can't really distort forward into the enemy team because of the Poppy, the Talia threat, or even like a Renekton stun. If any CC lands, it will be chained and you will die. So The strength of LeBlanc right now is on the side lane in the 1v1. Even against the Red Nectar, she's going to be able to like poke him out and get into a position where she can take these turrets down. Splitting the map up, splitting the team up is Ion's aim of the game, whereas Mammoth, they want to be grouped. They want to find these engages in front and back positions.
Well, it seems at this stage, Telly, all 3 lanes are pushing at once. 3 cannons inspired by the Baron buff is pretty nice to say the least. As Jovi once again looks to tease an opportunity to take down Predator in a single 1v1. Not to be the case, though. Solar Flare goes out, only the slow is there. Cleanse Burn in that previous fight means that Gunko has to cop it in its entirety. As soon as that one expires, he flashes out to safety. Hexflash picks it up in the end with the Ignite. The Cataclysm Burn just to add flare to the flames. As in the end, it's not enough for Voice to run away from that one. The Flame Spitter Rumble, too much to get through. And with a Baron buff still remaining for another 30 seconds, they might look to do some serious damage to the Nexus itself.
Yeah, I think they can absolutely end the game here, especially with this wave, especially if we're flashing forward. But maybe this is no overextension, Skimmy. Maybe this is way too deep from Hexflash.
It looks like he's seen a moment to try and shine and excel. He's actually drawn their attention elsewhere. Their wave is still incredibly stacked up. One turret falls on down. The Baron for another 15 seconds as they look at that second Nexus turret. Looking at Styx to try and weave in those auto attacks to get it done. And expose base to try and open up game 1 in their favor. And there you have it. 31 minutes on the dot. And Ion finished with a bang. Yeah,
a surprisingly tough game for Ion there. And I think that might come down to how they drafted, you know, putting the, as we do see, the bot gap bid. But it's empty right now, Scary, and I think, you know, we're going to have to wait to see if that one does get filled up in the rest of the series. And I'm curious to see if Ion want to come back with that same type of team comp, because Mammoth looks pretty comfortable into it, and, you know, this game might have gone either way on a different day.
To say, I actively look forward to Ion games when you just know that Styx is going to pull some kind of crazy shenanigan in the post-game celebrations. But as you say, yeah, phenomenal game overall. I think